Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k 8th edition reveal video. Today we shall be taking a stroll through Stronghold Assault. As most of you probably know, Stronghold Assault is currently a optional sort of expansion-y sort of thing. It's an extra book and it has lots and lots of cool rules for things like Aegis defense lines, void shield generators, Promethean pipe relays. Lots and lots of cool things, basically almost like interactive terrain, but obviously as you can tell it's mostly to do with fortifications. And I believe there are some special missions in there and some other bits and bobs. The Fortress of Redemption. Where do you find rules for your Fortress of Redemption model you can buy? Well, you can find the rules from the Stronghold Assault. I have never ever even looked at a copy of Stronghold Assault. Never even wanted to, because I gotta be honest, I was a bit annoyed when Games Workshop made like a whole different book about it, because all the terrain, all the bits you're meant to use, they're kind of meant to be in one place, aren't they? In 6th edition rulebook, all the rules for that kind of stuff was in the rulebook. So that's a different story though. We're not going off a tangent, because guess what? Stronghold Assault is now going to be in the rulebook again. They've stopped trying to make every last little aspect of the game parceled off and put in a little book somewhere, and they're bringing Stronghold Assault back into the fold, which bodes very well for other things like Apocalypse and Planet Strike and Cities of Death. I believe Cities of Death has actually already been revealed. I've had a quick look through it, but it's a good sign, guys. It means everything's going to be in one place, which is what we like to hear. It's a good sign from Games Workshop. It's another step in the right direction. But let's sort of take a look through what we're actually going to get. Because this is, I imagine, going to be a short video because there's not a lot of content here. So the most important thing that immediately jumps out of this article is they've got 2 new stratagems for Stronghold Assault, and specifically for Stronghold Assault. So you have an attacker stratagem and a defender stratagem. So in the game, in Stronghold Assault, there will be a clear attacker and a clear defender. That's pre-arranged. So the attacker stratagem and the defender stratagem both cost 1 command point. And the first one, the attacker, is Sappers. And it says this stratagem is used just before one of your units fights a bunker or fortress. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for that unit that target a bunker or fortress this fight phase. Okay, so that's pretty potent, because that means even your lowly guardsmen will now be able to, with their bayonets, wound a bunker or a fortress on a 5+. That is pretty amazing, guys. That means most of your things like melter bombs and crack grenades, all that. Well, I think melter bombs are going to be wounding on 2+ now. Crack grenades probably going to be wounding on 3+, and your basic guy is going to be wounding those things on 5+. That means that you'll chip down bunkers and fortresses really quickly. You'll just crash through them. I tell you what, that scares the shit out of me for things like Tyranid mobs of Hormagaunts and Orc boy mobs, because Orc boy mobs or Tyranid Hormagaunts, they're going to have 3 attacks per guy, you know it. So you're going to look at what, 90 to 100 attacks against a bunker. They're just going to shred through it, just burrow through it if they're Tyranids, and just destroy it. So that's crazy. The escape hatch is the defender stratagem, and this stratagem is used when one of your bunkers or fortresses is destroyed. Garrison models are only slain on a roll of a 1 instead of a 1, 2 or 3. So that's kind of good. So essentially it looks like they've simplified the building damage table, and now it's a simple case of if your building is destroyed, 50% of the time the guys inside are going to die. Well, on a 1, 2 or 3 a guy dies. Now with this ability it's only on a 1. So that's kind of cool. It'll be interesting to see if I think that probably replaces the current escape patch that you can buy for your Imperial bunker, which just lets you pop out for free. So they've replaced that now. Instead of buying a escape patch, you use one of your strategies, which I think is a bit weird. And the reason I think it's a bit strange is because it makes more sense if you buy an escape patch as part of your points, because then you know where the escape patch is. Whereas this stratagem almost feels like, hey guys, guess what? I've just discovered this escape hatch. Wasn't here for the first 4 turns of the game, but I just discovered it. It's a bit like, what? Anyway, I'm not going to quibble about it because I never used them. I never used escape hatches, but it's a bit of a strange one. Right. Taking a look at the fortified structures. This is the second part. So we've had stratagems. Now let's take a look at the actual fucking things that we're going to be defending. The actual strongholds that are being assaulted. And the example they give is the Fortress of Redemption. A classic-ish fortification. I actually very rarely saw these things ever used on the table, outside of just being battlefield terrain. But they were common enough for me to have a good idea of what they did. The new ones now have a toughness of 10, over a dozen wounds, and a 3+ save. So they will take a considerable effort to destroy, according to Games Workshop. Well, maybe. I mean, like I said, I can still imagine a squad of like 30 Hormiguns just going through one of those things like a hot knife, with using the sapper stratagem, just going through those things like a hot knife through butter. Because I imagine you won't have to. Will you have to roll to hit against a structure? Maybe. But let's assume that these things have got a dozen wounds. Okay. You know, if we're looking at, let's say, 90 attacks on a basic squad, 90 attacks, that's like 30 boys or 30 Hormiguns, a relatively small amount. You know, you're going to hit, let's say they hit on a 3+, you hit with 9, you hit with 60. Then you wound on 5 ups. That means you're going to wound with 15, roughly. 20, obviously, 20. Now, that will probably be enough to just destroy most structures. I mean, I know it says they've got about a dozen wounds or more, but like, that's not even taking into account, you know, AP. What about rending? Rending -1. Or, you know, there's some rending claws that like Tyranids get now, like -4. That just means one blob of 30 just straight through. But I think removing the salt from the equation, I reckon it'll take of basic troops, 2 mobs of, you know, 30 guys to just carve through any fortification, which is kind of cool because with Tyranids I can totally see them like burrowing under, you know, Khorne Berserkers like chain axing their way through, Orcs just hitting the shit out of it until nothing's working anymore. So it does kind of work. But this is a, you know, from a guard point of view, there's not a lot to really get our teeth into here. The stratagems are cool, but they're only going to be specifically for Stronghold Assault, so we probably won't see them all that much. Although I can imagine Stronghold Assault being like a mission type in a tournament. I can see that being a thing. Because the most common, the problem with this article is the most common fortification that I ever saw taken in the Imperial Guard was an Aegis defense line. We don't have any rules for that here, but I still think it's interesting. And I think the best thing to take away from this, guys, is Stronghold Assault is now basically a freebie in the main book. But, you know, tell me what you guys think. Maybe I have just completely missed the ball on this one. Tell me what you guys think. Maybe you guys are absolutely hyped for Stronghold Assault. So, of course, as always, please comment, let me know. And as always, I will try and get back to every single comment that I can. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have found this video relatively informative, and I'll see you guys next time.